Well, for the first time in many weeks, Dalton trustees and Mayor Tiffany Henyard held a public meeting together, but not at Village Hall.
And Micah, tonight was a special board meeting because business has not gotten done at two previous meetings. So that's some progress there. But this meeting was not without its fair share of tension.
The drama surrounding Dalton, Illinois, and its mayor, Tiffany Henyard, is escalating into what feels like a live reality TV show. Imagine this. A mayor earning over $300,000 annually, yet somehow facing eviction for unpaid rent. It's baffling, to say the least. But it doesn't stop at her personal financial issues. Henyard's actions are spilling into her political role, creating chaos in the village she's meant to lead. It's as if she's playing by her own set of rules, leaving everyone else to deal with the fallout. Get ready, because we're diving into the bizarre and controversial world of Tiffany Henyard, where drama seems to be the only constant.
Dalton home that she leased to Mayor Tiffany Henyard has filed eviction papers. She says Henyard has not paid her rent, and now she wants her.
Let's dive into the eviction drama, because this is where things get seriously intriguing. Picture this. You're a landlord, expecting rent to roll in like clockwork, only to discover your tenant is none other than the mayor of your town, and she hasn't paid rent in months. That's the situation Jeanette Tolley, Mayor Tiffany Henyard's landlord, finds herself in. Henyard, who rakes in a hefty salary as both the mayor of Dalton and the supervisor of Thornton Township, reportedly stopped paying rent after August. According to Tolley, the last payment she received was months ago, leaving her thousands of dollars short. You'd think someone earning that kind of income wouldn't have trouble covering rent, but apparently Henyard's priorities lie elsewhere. By September, Toll had had enough and filed eviction papers. Since then, serving them has turned into a full-blown cat-and-mouse game. The Cook County Sheriff's Office has attempted multiple times to deliver the papers, but Henyard and her boyfriend keep vanishing like Houdini. Toll even had to hire a special process server, racking up additional costs on top of the unpaid rent. It's a mess, and the drama shows no signs of letting up.
Now she's teasing a big announcement that she claims will result in some of her opponents being arrested and charged.
But it's not just about the unpaid rent. There's more to this story. Landlord Jeanette Toll says she hasn't been able to access her own property for months. After giving Henyard and her boyfriend a 48-hour notice to perform maintenance, Toll arrived to find the locks had been changed and the garage code altered. Imagine being locked out of your own home. It's as if they've turned the property into their personal fortress. Understandably, Toll is frustrated. To make matters worse, she once considered Henyard a friend, even helping with her campaign in the past. Now all Toll wants is for Henyard and her boyfriend to leave her house. What started as a professional agreement has spiraled into a tense and deeply personal dispute.
Henyard's landlord showed up here to see her tenant in person after she says Henyard has been dodging both her and rent payments for months.
Let's pause for a moment. How does someone in a position of power, earning over $300,000 annually, end up in a situation like this? We're not talking about an astronomical amount of rent. According to Toll, the monthly rent was raised by $200 over the summer, bringing it to $1,400, a sum that should be pocket change for someone with Henyard's salary. Yet her boyfriend reportedly claimed they couldn't afford it. Couldn't afford it! Seriously? The public reaction to this fiasco has been brutal. One commenter asked, "How many more months does this continue? Does no one face consequences anymore?" Is a valid question. Henyard seems to be navigating this mess with zero accountability, and people are understandably frustrated. By the way, unreliable narrator Jennifer Aniston, who funds the rehab and legal firm based out of New York City, narrated in the comments that Baxter stole her house. She has a condemned rental property that was overpaid by Section 8, while the renters stayed in a hotel. And Tiff still collected rent. Then she turns around and rents a house herself. Not one decision she makes is sound. Maybe, but is it wrong? That's the real question.
South suburban politician Tiffany Henyard appears to have lost control of both governments.
The rent fiasco is just one piece of the puzzle when it comes to Tiffany Henyard's increasingly questionable behavior. Her personal life seems to mirror her political life. Both appear to be spiraling out of control. And if you thought the eviction drama was messy, wait until you hear about the police chief debacle. After the previous police chief, Louis Lacey, was ousted following a vote of no confidence from Dolton's officers, you'd think Henyard would tread carefully with her next appointment. Instead, she appointed Ronald Burge as the new police chief, a choice that's raising serious eyebrows. Why? Burge isn't even qualified to serve as a police officer, let alone head the department. The Illinois Law Enforcement Training and Standards Board sent Henyard a letter stating that Burge's law enforcement certification is inactive. He hasn't completed the required requalification shoot since 2021, and Dolton hasn't submitted the necessary paperwork to reactivate him. In short, Burge can't legally carry a firearm or exercise any law enforcement authority. Despite this, Henyard pushed forward with the appointment, seemingly ignoring the board's strong recommendation to remove Burge from public service until his eligibility is resolved. Instead of heeding expert advice, Henyard doubled down. After a chaotic village board meeting, a judge ruled in her favor, allowing Burge to serve as interim police chief for 30 days while the situation is sorted out. So, despite all the red flags, Burge is currently in charge, at least for now. It's another chapter in Henyard's growing list of controversial decisions, leaving many to wonder, does she think the rules simply don't apply to her?
Thornton Township tonight, as another board meeting got canceled because of a lack of a quorum.
And that came after a disagreement about where to hold the meeting as trustees expressed concerns for their safety.
This brings us to another sharp critique. There isn't one decision she makes that is sound. It's hard to argue with that sentiment. Whether it's her personal finances or political appointments, Tiffany Henyard has established a clear pattern of reckless decision-making, and the people of Dolton are paying the price, both literally and figuratively. Take her appointment of Ronald Burge as police chief. It wasn't just controversial, it was also illegal. Dolton trustees have been fighting her on this, arguing that she doesn't have the authority to make such appointments without their consent. But Henyard isn't one to back down. Even in the face of legal challenges, she barrels ahead as if the rules simply don't apply to her. It's like she's on a power trip, and the residents of Dolton are stuck in the fallout. What's clear is that Henyard's leadership, or lack thereof, is creating chaos at every turn, leaving many to wonder how much more the village can endure under her watch.
You are a clown. We will continue to speak out against wrongdoing. Why won't you step down?
What's even more concerning is Henyard's track record when it comes to law enforcement. Remember Chief Lacey? That was another debacle. Lacey, who was appointed by Henyard, faced a slew of controversies, including accusations of unprofessionalism and even charges of bankruptcy fraud. Now, with Burge stepping into the role, it feels like déjà vu. Henyard has a troubling tendency to surround herself with people who are either unqualified or mired in legal trouble. It's like she's playing a game of political musical chairs, and each time the person left standing is someone who arguably shouldn't be in power. But it's not just the police department suffering under Henyard's leadership. Dolton, as a whole, is in turmoil. The village's finances are in disarray, with a multi-million-dollar deficit and mounting debt. Residents are understandably frustrated. They're watching their town slide deeper into financial ruin while their mayor is busy throwing lavish parties and making one questionable decision after another. One resident even compared her to a dictator, saying, "It's like living in Venezuela under Nicolas Maduro." Harsh? Yes, but when you look at the state of Dolton under Henyard's leadership, the comparison doesn't feel entirely out of place.
All this point the finger to Tiffany or allow me, I'm over it. Now it's time for me.
Henyard's critics argue that she's more focused on boosting her own image and personal gain than on the well-being of Dolton's residents. She's been accused of spending thousands of public dollars on luxury travel and fine dining, turning the local police into her personal security detail, and even using taxpayer money to hire DJs for town meetings. Yes, you read that right. DJs for town meetings. It's as if she's transforming local politics into her own reality show. And honestly, at this point, who's even surprised? But the drama doesn't stop there. Henyard has repeatedly promised to spill the tea on her opponents, painting them as the true villains in this story. She's accused them of orchestrating a power and money grab, and during a 90-minute Facebook Live rant, she even suggested she might seek the arrest of some of her political enemies. That's right, she's threatening arrests. The catch? She hasn't provided any concrete evidence of wrongdoing. Instead, it's all vague accusations and promises to reveal the full truth at some unspecified later date. Sound familiar? It's a classic tactic. Deflect attention from your own scandals by pointing fingers at everyone else. And for Henyard, it seems to be business as usual.
So now I have to pay a special process service in order to get them served, which is more fees for me.
This isn't the first time Henyard has tried to shift the narrative in her favor. She's embarked on brief media tours, pitched herself on podcasts, and even hired PR teams to cast herself as the victim. But despite these efforts, the scandals keep piling up, and the people of Dolton are beginning to see through the facade. An observer put it perfectly. She's not going out without a fight, that's for sure. Henyard is clinging to her position of power with everything she's got, but at what cost? It's almost as if she's living in a bubble, completely disconnected from the harsh realities Dolton faces. While the village drowns in debt, Henyard is busy filming music videos and snapping selfies at public events. At a Valentine's Day dinner earlier this year, she was surrounded by an entourage of police officers, including the deputy police chief, who appeared more like personal bodyguards than public servants. And who could forget the Love on the Ice event? Henyard stationed police officers to block reporters from entering, effectively shutting out the media. It's as if she's created her own little world, where she's the star of the show, and everyone else is relegated to the role of supporting character. Meanwhile, the people of Dolton are left dealing with the fallout of her increasingly disconnected leadership.
I'm here because I'm at wit's end, and I fear that I'm going to go into foreclosure soon if I can't get this matter handled.
So where does this all leave us? Tiffany Henyard's tenure as mayor has been defined by scandal after scandal, with her actions raising serious doubts about her ability to lead. From unpaid rent to illegal appointments, extravagant spending to questionable political power plays, Henyard's behavior seems driven more by personal ambition than by a genuine commitment to serving the people of Dolton. And yet, she remains in power, facing little to no real consequences. How long can this go on? It's anyone's guess. But one thing is clear, this saga is far from over. Stay tuned, because if history is any indication, there are plenty more twists and turns ahead in this ongoing drama.